Well, good morning on this gorgeous, gorgeous morning. Happy Saturday if you're here in Australia, and happy Friday if you're tuning in from somewhere else. I'm so excited to bring this particular Facebook Live to you today. All about, isn't it time to release the need for validation? This is one of those things where when it came up for me, it was something that I'm just trying to see what's going on there. Whoa, here we go. Am I getting it up? Oh, we've got, where are we? Show that one. Here we go. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Can you just let me know if you can hear me this morning? We are working on, and like this topic, morning, Helen. Yes. This is one of these topics that when I hit on this, when I discovered that this was one of the things that had actually been holding me back from truly stepping into my purpose, it was just quite extraordinary. And it's this one thing, I think, that when you understand this need for validation, and I want to be quite specific about this. This is not the need for approval. This is more the need for validation, to validate who we are rather than the need for approval, which many of us have worked through. This is slightly different. Morning, Louise. Helen, can you just let me know if you can hear me? Because Louise can't hear sound this morning. Just let me know. I'm just all plugged in. I think I'm all plugged in. Sometimes you need to log in and log out, Louise. I think it's okay from my end. Hang on, let me just check my levels of my sound. Yep. I think it's okay. Helen, can you let me know if... Yep, she's got a headset on. Morning, Jackie. Hear you well. Great. Got it now. Terrific. True. Good morning, everybody. Lovely to have you here. Oh, need for validation. Oh my goodness, Chris. You know, I was thinking about this morning in my meditation. I'm not supposed to be thinking, but I was. The need for validation is almost like, morning, Donna. The need for validation is almost like one of the 7 deadly sins. You know, that's, what are they? Envy, gluttony, lust, some anger. You could kind of call this the number 8, the need for validation. Why? Because the need for validation keeps you trapped in inauthenticness. And I'm going to explain what that is in a minute. Because we tend to think about being authentic as someone who's truthful and honest. But really, the real meaning of authenticity is actually being who you are all the time. Good morning, Santa. Nice to have you here. It's being who you are all the time. Now, you probably know this feeling when you meet somebody who perhaps is not being their authentic self, and then you start kind of matching them. You know, you kind of joke and go, oh, yeah. And you start to talk about things that are not really coming from your heart. You're trying to match them. You know, you're kind of trying to fit in, that not being your authentic you. And a lot of that comes back from the need for validation, to validate who we are. So what I'm going to talk about today is how that started and how we release it and how you can identify it. I think that's where the key is. It's identifying where your need for validation. Now, as I mentioned before, when I finally got this, this really made a difference, because I was able to go back through the patterns of my life and see where I had begun to express through my soul's purpose. I'd begun to express who I was. I'd begun to step into my gifts, but I was seeking the validation from others. Good morning, Michelle. Lovely to have you here. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, where you can find those patterns in your life, where you can see where you've played small or you've held back, seeking the need for validation. But first of all, I want to just share something. On the last week's call, for those who were on, we talked about looking at signs or finding signs. And I asked you to choose something that you want to find signs for. And I know many of us chose feathers for this week. Well, I had to tell you something really amazing happened this week. It literally has blown my mind. I'm still thinking about it. I'm going to share it at the end, what we've come up with. But I was at a workshop on Wednesday, and right at the very end, I was there supporting a client. And right at the very end, one of these participants was there, turned to me and asked me a question. And it's been something I've been thinking about for a while. And I said, oh, yes, actually, yes, I'm going to do that. And it just kind of came off the top of my head. As I walked out the door, the sky, literally, if you saw me, if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen it. The sky was literally full of feather clouds. To just light on. I'm trying to get them up before. In fact, later when I finish, I'll upload it. The sky was full of feather clouds. I had to stop. I drove for a while and I stopped. I've got to get a photo of this. I've got to remind myself about this. And it was just one of those moments. Now, everybody else saw them. But for me, because I was looking for signs this week about staying on track, it was just extraordinary. I'll pop that later. So let me know in the comments, if you've seen feathers this week and you're on the call last week, or if you've seen time. That was the other thing that came up for me this week. 11:11, 3:33, 12:12 was coming up a lot. 06:06 I saw a lot this week. All those sort of little things that just keep you reminded. Morning, Megan. Lovely to have you here. All those things that just keep reminding you that you're on track and can sometimes just be a universal sign for you that you are actually on track. All right. Let's get on to it. Anybody, so just pop in the comments. Let me know. Did you see any signs this week? Signs, finding feathers, noticing time. I know we've got a little bit of delay. So sometimes when you type things, it takes a while for me to actually see them. So if I'm not commenting straight away, they're popping up. Morning, Jackie. Love to have you here. Lovely to have you here. All right. Validation. I want to share a little bit about my story about my need for validation. And it was really, as I said before, when we started, it was only when you saw them too, Helen. Yeah. Oh, isn't that the coolest thing? It's like, oh, I'm not by myself. Lots of, oh, thank you, Jackie. Lots of numbers. Yes, I'll bet you have. I think I saw, Jackie, your post, 3:33, I think. Was that it when you come back from your trip back from wonderful Nepal? And I really would love to catch up with you soon at some stage to talk about that because it sounded amazing. Jackie's just done a wonderful trip to Nepal. All right, so, let's get back to validation. So I'd come up with these ideas that I really felt was something that I knew it was me. But then what I would do, every time I think about this, I want to just smack myself. I had a lot of forgiveness this week for myself. I would seek out the validation of others. Is this a good idea? How do you think this would go? If I did this, would you support me? Now, here's the deal with validation. It's okay to seek validation from others if they follow 3 criteria. 1, they understand you and your gifts. They understand what you can bring to the world. 2, you trust them and you see them as wise and experienced. And number 3, and I think most important, and this is where I recognize I fell down on this one, is that they do not have another agenda. And it was that one. Is that I had sought validation from others who ticked the 2 boxes, but the 3rd one, they had another agenda. And when I realized that, that's when I went, whoa, it's not about them. That was about me. That was about me not being the whole of me. I didn't value me. That's what seeking validation is about. I didn't value me. So how do you notice when this is happening? It's oftentimes when you are holding yourself from speaking up in a meeting because you're fearful that others won't agree with you. Yeah, that's exactly right, Matt. Until you realize your own value in my work, that is so true. I'm just going to pop that up in case nobody else has seen that. That is so true, Donna. That's where it is. That's the key. It's when you value your own value and your worth. And that is when you get to that soul's purpose, when you understand that, that's when you can move through it. And of course, it's the patterns. And when you're with a certain group of people, this is where another place I found it, when you're with a certain group of people and you just feel you can't be yourself, you can't say the things that you want to say, you can't be the person you want to be. And I find myself sometimes if I go to a networking events and I come away from it just feeling, that wasn't me. What was I seeking? It's not about them, remember, it's about me. So let's look at how it can show up for you, because I'm very thing about time today. I want to finish this right on the top of the hour for those who are watching this from other places in the world. Let's look at how. Number one, shows up as anxiety, fear or worry about things you have no control over. So that seeking the validation is, oh my gosh, what if this isn't right? What if I'm making the wrong decision? That's seeking that need. It shows up as anxiety. Guilt, being overly concerned about what you do and how it will impact on others. Now, this particular point right here, being overly concerned about what you do and how it will impact on others, in particular, look around friends or family where you are holding yourself back, this need for validation, because you're fearful that if you step out, it might make them feel bad. You want them to validate you so that you kind of bring them along in the journey with you. Number 3 is sadness. Not healing or working through issues with your parents, and which one. And let me just, if we're at this stage in our lives, we are still seeking validation, not approval or love, I'm talking about validation, from a parent. At this particular point in time, you are probably not going to get it. You're probably not going to get it. And that's not about you. That is about what your parents are going through. And I often tell this story when I first wrote my first book, David's Gift, and I sent a manuscript to my dad to read. I was shaking. I was shaking when I sent it to my dad to read. And Jerry looked at me and he said, "What are you so worried about?" And I said, "Because I just want him to, Now I realize I was looking for the word. It was validated. And he did, which was lovely. But I recognized that was something I needed to do because it could have held me back from actually bringing that book to fruition. Number 4 is the imposter syndrome. We've done a lot of work on the imposter syndrome, and that's, perfectionism, superwoman, the natural genius, the rugged individualist, the expert. Where are you waiting for everything to be perfect? Perfectionism is a way of putting on armor. This is a Brené Brown quote. So other people don't see who you really are in case you don't measure up. So the perfectionist, everything has to be perfect, is actually a need for validation because you may feel that you don't measure up and everything has to be perfect and you get stuck. You just get stuck. You can't move forward. Perfectionism is really just, it is one of those issues that just continue to hold you back. And that rolls into the next one, fear. Fear of the ramifications of not being good enough. Fear, it's just fear. I supported a client of mine in a workshop this week, and she was really stepping into her soul's purpose and into her life's purpose, really. And there was a moment in this workshop where the emotion rose in her, and my heart just exploded because I knew right there at that moment she was doing exactly what she had come here to do. This is her life's purpose. but the fear was rising. I could see it. But my heart exploded because I knew that's just fear. We can deal with that. But she had found it. This is it. She'd found it. It was just such a wonderful experience for me as her coach to see that. And one of the things is saying sorry all the time. Are you one of these people who says sorry all the time? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, look, sorry. Am I interrupting you? Oh, sorry. Can I grab a moment of your time? How many times in a day do you say sorry to someone? That need for validation that I'm not interrupting you, that my value isn't important enough. I've stopped myself saying sorry now. And when I need to apologize to someone, I say the word I apologize, not I'm sorry. We overuse that word. Saying sorry, you have to really, really mean it. But I'd gotten to the habit of just, oh, sorry, am I bothering you? Or sorry, you walk in front of someone and say, oh, sorry. Well, I just go, oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. My apologies. Very different. So saying sorry all the time, need for validation. And the last one, the need for certainty. Where in your life are you holding yourself back for the need for certainty in your life? And another quote from Brené Brown, Braving the Wilderness, where she says, faith and certainty cannot exist together. That if you really believe in yourself, if you are living your soul's purpose and expressing as your life purpose, it's about faith. It's about believing in yourself. Because if everything is about certainty, hi Rhonda, everything is about certainty, then I need to be validated. I need to know that this is going to work, because then I'll be okay. It's validating yourself all the time. So let's go back some of those things. If there's nothing wrong with seeking validation, however, the top three things, the person you're seeking validation from understands your gifts, understands what gives you joy and what you're here to do, understand that you trust them, you see them as wise and experienced. 3, most important, do not have another agenda going on. Be very, very careful. That's when you know that heart connection. Now, I often talk about this in my workshops. Morning, Kathy. I talk about this in my workshops. It's that heart resonance. So our energy from our heart extends out, according to research from the Heart Math Institute, about 3 meters. So if you're in somebody's space and you are asking them for validation, check. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. You'll know if they have another agenda. Because when you release the need for validation, but you're seeking advice, and that's okay. You're seeking input, and that's okay. You're not seeking validation. You will feel it. So the key to all of this is finding where this need for validation started. And here's a little hint. It'll be a pattern. It'll be a pattern. And it'll be show up. You will see it in the patterns of your life. That's where you will find it. Now, I have a very special announcement. And a very special announcement before we go into the tapping. And it goes back to what I was telling you about the feather clouds. I've been mulling in my mind for a while to do an event. I want to do a very special event. I want to do an event that helps you rediscover your soul's purpose, that pulls back all those patterns and finds where in the past that soul's purpose has been shattered, abused, invalidated, and how you take that soul's purpose and now place it into your life purpose. Here's the deal, because your life purpose actually changes, evolves as you evolve. And the soul's purpose is about joy. It's that moment of joy. That's what the soul is. But we express that through what we do in our lives. So we're going to do an event. It'll be here on the Gold Coast in July. We are still in negotiation with the hotel at the moment, back and forth a little bit on some costings. But you'll love this hotel. You'll love this hotel. We're going to find your true purpose, and we're going to find how you can make a business out of it. We're going to find how whatever you are doing in your career at the moment, that you can bring your soul's purpose into that, so you can actually either make a business out of it or move sideways in your career, perhaps, to express it. But what we're doing today is I'm starting a wait list, and here's the details of the wait list. I'll pop it into the notifications here. You can click on this. Now, the wait list, when we let it go, when I launch it, we're going to let our wait list people know about it first. Did that go up? I think so. Where'd it go? Did it come up? Now, we're going to let people on the wait list know first, and being on the wait list, you will get access. There's actually been 2 early birds, but you're going to get the first one first. We're going to have the first early bird for you guys. So anybody on the wait list, it'll be probably a week before we actually launch. We get everything cleared up. Tuesday dates. It'll be in July on the Gold Coast. You'll love the hotel. And it is going to be an event to me helping you reclaim your extraordinary self by living through and expressing through your soul's purpose and finding the way you do that. So remember, soul's purpose is who you are, life purpose is what you do. We're going to be doing that because it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter how many kind of business breakthrough sessions you go through and, do all these kind of programs about building your business or Facebook funnels or all of that. Unless you are just expressing through your soul's purpose, you will not find the joy in that. And that's what the soul is, joy. That moment where you just go, oh, there's no words to describe it. That to me is soul's purpose. When I saw my client on Wednesday, become emotional at saying what she said, my heart just exploded. I was just, to me, that is my absolute joy when I see others do that. That's been my purpose. I know that's my purpose. I've been doing it all my life. Didn't realize it till a few months ago. So the event, the Gold Coast in July, on the coast, and we will send details for those who are on the wait list. You'll get the first notification. There'll be special bonuses for you for those on the early wait list, and we'll send those in, to you. At this stage, I'm only looking for 20 people because I want to make this very, very hands-on, very unique. I want to make it very specific to you so that you walk away from this event knowing, without a shadow of a doubt, knowing this is my soul's purpose, this is my life purpose, it's fully aligned, and this is how I'm going to create a business out of it, and these are the steps I'm going to take. And the whole thing is going to work. My goal is that it will just work in sequence. So July, and probably the second part of July, after the school holidays, I think, and until we can just got to get this room sorted out with the hotel. It's a very special hotel, and I'll share with you when we announce the hotel. I'll share why it's very important to me. All right, so hop on that list and let me know, and we will send you details about it when it comes up. All righty, we are going to now tap on validation. Finish this off, validation. Let's finish this strongly. And this week, keep an eye out for those feathers or time, because that'll, the times that you will see if you're on purpose. You will see if it's happening when you see those things show up in your life. And it doesn't necessarily. When we were working on this event yesterday afternoon, I have to tell you, there were so many birds in our back. I'd never seen so many birds. They were so loud. And I said to Jerry, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Look at them. They're here. They're here. And something else had happened. I want to share something really quick before we move to tapping. I went to a funeral this week. An aunt, very, very special aunt of mine. She was my mother's sister and nursed my mother in her last stages of cancer, and she passed away this week. So it was sad, and But the other part was joyful because she's now with my mother again. And when we were at the cemetery, and I just felt their presence. So it was my mother and there's two of her sisters. They were both her bridesmaids and now no longer with us. And also my aunt's husband and her daughter. And I thought, God, I can feel their presence. I can feel their presence. And I thought, where are they? And all of a sudden, 5 birds flew down and sat on the tombstone, just a little way over from the grave. So I just knew it. I could just see it. Oh, it's just wonderful. Ooh, I get all goosebumpy when that happens. Anyway, you know you're on purpose. Know you're on track. Know you're on task. Let's tap on validation, shall we? Let's get rid of this chestnut for once and for all, shall we? I want you to measure, scale of 1 to 10. How strong is your need for validation? How strong is your need for validation? And see if you can pick a specific moment. Remember, with tapping, this is about being as specific as you can. Specific as you can. Okay? I want you to measure on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is your need for validation? 10 being, I need validation all the time. 1 being, not so much. But be honest here. You're just by yourself, with me. You're by yourself. Okay? So, feel how that feels. Validation. Tap. Even though I have this strong need for validation. Ooh, just got a chill through my spine. There we go. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though for most of my life I have sought the validation from others, and I know it's held me back. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I have this strong need for validation, I've lived with it most of my life. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Here we go. My need for validation. This strong need for validation. My need for validation. I can see those moments where I've looked for validation. I can see those moments. I understand it. This strong need for validation. I can see this validation. My strong need for validation. I can see where that's held me back. That time when I wanted the validation. This strong need for validation. That time I needed the validation. My need for validation. That time I needed that validation. Okay, just take a deep breath. Now, this week, see if you can find those patterns. Go back looking for them. And you'll need to tap, remember, on each of those in order to collapse this. Remember, with tapping, we go looking all the time, for all the time. You're not going to collapse that need for validation until you release the emotional intensity from each of those patterns. That's what's extremely important, okay? Don't just override this. Don't go, I don't need validation. Look where it's been and release it. Okay, we're going to do a quick reframe round. And we want to do some I am statements at the end. Even though I know I've sought validation, I choose to forgive myself. Even though for so long I've been seeking validation, I choose to forgive those who were never going to give it to me anyway. Even though I had this strong need for validation, it's come down somewhat. I choose to value my worth. Okay, tapping. I choose to value my worth. I choose to release the need for validation. What would that look like? This need for validation. My need for validation. What would that look like? I choose to value my worth. I choose to value my worth. Take a deep breath and let it go. Now, I've had a little glitch here where it looks like I've gone off air. I don't know if I'm still on. Maybe you're just getting, I've totally lost the visuals. So hopefully it's still there. All right, before we finish, I want you just to grab that I am statements from them. I am valuable. I am worthy. I no longer need validation. I value myself. Those are the I am statements for this week. Remember, it's all about the signing up for that. You're on still good? Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's gone blank. I can see myself in this camera and that camera over there. Boop, gone. All right. I'm going to remember I look forward. Thanks, Louise. I look forward to you attending that event. If you're able, I'd love to see you there. Oh my gosh, you guys have been so fantastic. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to help support you. Truly step into that soul's purpose, express your life purpose, just to experience joy and understand, the patterns that have held you back all along. And then how do you make a business out of it? How do we put this into, it's all woo-woo stuff. Woo-woo. We're going to make it practical. We're going to bring the woo-woo into the practical. Make it work for you. Have a wonderful weekend. Oh, thank you, Megan. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for jumping on. Great start, yes. I love starting I really look forward to Saturday mornings. I really look forward to them, I have to say. All week, I'm always thinking, what am I going to talk to my friends about on Saturday morning? And it's amazing how I get little messages, what you guys need. Yay, Donna, fantastic, loved it. Well, I can't wait to share it. Look, I am so excited. I have to tell you, the more I work on this event, the more excited I am, because this is stuff. This is really stuff. Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending today. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thanks, Michelle. Good to have you here. I get to spend some time with you. Thank you, everybody. Oh, your first session. Oh, welcome, Donna. Welcome. I think we just liked each other on Facebook. Thank you, Jackie. Have a wonderful weekend. And welcome back, Jackie, from your trip. Everybody, and for all those who are... Hey, thank you, Helen. I'll see you during the week. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody, whatever you're doing. And look out for those feathers this week. Let me know how you go. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.